Car debt is the absolute worst. Why spend tens of thousands of dollars on a regular vehicle that everyone else drives around when you have to keep digging deeper into your pocket to pay your car loans each month? Instead, you can buy a super cheap car and turn it into something unique and special. Who doesn't love turning something cheap and a little junky into a gorgeous masterpiece? Most amazing tuner cars we see are Japanese, but don't rule out the European continent. Here are some cheap European cars with insane tuning potential. 5. Volvo 240. The all-reliable, safe Swedish car has a niche aftermarket, making it ideal for tuners. It's not insanely difficult for you to find a used 240 from 1993 or earlier for less than $8,000, and even $1,500 with an insane amount of miles on it. But the cheaper it is, you know you'll have to put in a lot more work, so get those wrenches out. Powered by an 8-valve, naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine, this rear-wheel drive has an output of 114 horsepower at 5,300 RPM and a top speed of 108 miles per hour. A great place to start your mods is changing the old worn-out tires and wheels. Try some 16-inch alloy wheels to help cool down the braking for a safer, sharper ride. For better performance, although it may not be the sexiest tune, working on the air intake is key. Adding an air filter allows for the flow of cooler air into the engine, increasing horsepower and the speed of acceleration. One filter's not that expensive. You can get them easily on Amazon or another website for less than $100. To add a much larger horsepower boost, add a turbocharger to the engine. This will enable the engine to burn more fuel, allowing for a higher output and bigger driving thrill. If you've never added a turbo to a naturally aspirated engine, be very careful and take in as much information as possible before getting to work, as the tuning process is different from other engines. Adding a sports exhaust is another great option which increases performance and can add a raspy, energetic sound to your plain boxy Volvo. After you finish working on the engine and performance, you have to make the ordinary car a little better looking to get heads turning as you dart ahead. Adding a Cobra R-style rear wing would look cool and help with drag and handling. Perhaps install some LED headlights and a fiberglass hood scoop for a little zing to the front, and the added benefit of extra cool air into your engine. There are tons more mods and tunes to do, and so many forums to get help and ideas. Although you may never be able to change the shape of the boxy car, you can turn it into a beautiful beast with all the right parts and accessories. 4. Volkswagen Golf. This adorable-looking, lightweight German car has a massive aftermarket, so it's easy to find parts and is the perfect car to reconstruct. There are so many different models and makes of the Golf, starting from 1976 to present, so you can pick and choose whichever's your favorite year. If you want a really cheap car and are ready to put in a lot of tuning work, you can buy a 1990s or early 2000s used Golf model for $5,000 or less and break everything down. Or you can tune bits of the later versions, which cost around $17,000. Volkswagens are front-wheel drives, and their engines can pack between 108 and 256 horsepower. If you're looking to create a racing car, you can strip the entire interior and add a horizontal bar where the back seats were to act as a stiffer for the hatchback, making a stronger car and producing better suspension. But since this is a front-wheel drive, you have to focus on the rear suspensions. But if you're just looking for a more exciting drive, you can just tune its already powerful turbocharged diesel engine or shake up the wheels and brakes. The ideas are limitless, and there, the Volkswagen Golf project community online is pretty impressive, so you can get some inspiration if you're feeling stuck. 3. Mini Cooper. The cute little Mini Cooper by BMW's a great city car for squeezing into the rare, almost impossibly small parallel parking spots. But even though the 2, 3, 4, or 5-door Mini is compact and cute, this doesn't mean you can't turn it into a powerful macho car and still get into those tight spots. You can snag a sweet Mini Cooper from 2005 to 2010 for less than $5,000 with a lot of miles, but just strip it apart and start from scratch. The stock 2010 Mini is a front-wheel drive, 6-speed manual transmission fitted with white alloy wheels, a 1.6-litre 16-valve inline 4-cylinder engine with 118 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 114 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM, and a top speed of 126 miles per hour. Of course, a great place to start with any engine tuning is adding a cold air intake and changing exhaust for added horsepower and efficiency, especially if the car you've got is on the old, more worn-out side. A great company to get an exhaust from for a Mini is Balla. If you really want that extra power, you can also tack on a turbocharger and intercooler to the engine, but that'll be a little more on the pricier side. For really old cars with a ton of miles, putting in new brake pads and new tires are key, because who knows how badly the previous owner drove. To add some fun to the car, you can strip the interiors and add red or yellow leather sport seats, 506 mini JCW BBK crosspoke black gloss tune wheels, and LED lights for the adorable oval-shaped headlights, making the front of your car pop at night. You can turn an old Mini Cooper into a completely new, unbeatable, fierce Cooper. 2. Volkswagen GTI. This German speedy hatchback whiz is another easy-to-customize car and turn into a stylish rocket. One of the most affordable fast cars in the 60s, the first-generation GTI had a horsepower of 110, insanely powerful for its time. Now, the most recent generation has a 2-litre, turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which produces 228 horsepower and 258 pound-foot of torque. Now, imagine what a few engine, suspension, shock, and spring adjustments could do to your power and handling of your car. To gain some added horsepower, adding a cold air intake is a must. The factory airbox doesn't allow for maximum performance output, so changing it will reduce the strain on your turbocharger for higher output. Finding these aftermarket parts are as easy as a Google search, and if you're too lazy for even that, the APR Stage 1 cold air intake is a great airbox to buy. It looks sleek under the hood, adds around 15 horsepower, and sounds even better. To further increase horsepower, and the best mod for your GTI is an ECU tune. The factory ECU leaves a lot of room for improvement and increase horsepower so you can amp up the fun. For the race enthusiast, you have to have high-quality tires, not only for a smooth drive, and for more of a thrill, summer tires are the best. And for a faster drive to the finish line, Advan A052 towers from Yokohama are perfect and have a strong grip to keep you stable at top speed. And if you want to add some flair and flavor to your wheels, customize your rims with the Motegi MR141 Rally Gold rims or F1R F103 Candy Red rims to make your revolutionized GTI pop. To revamp the exterior, you can first add some sweet BEC Rep LED lights with white rings and a red stripe for an elegant look in contrast to the factory halogen lights. And if you're a fan of the red interior and stripes, adding a red pinstripe to the bottom rear, sides and front of the car can add a little zest to the car and can be found really cheaply at AutoZone. Even the smallest customizations to this German gem can make a big impact and add some kick and color for that extra swag to your ride. 1. BMW E30. This quintessentially German car is one of the best project cars to tune. This older generation BMW produced from 1982 to 1994 is perfect and easy to tune for the newbie project car enthusiasts. As long as you don't buy the E30 M3, you don't have to break the bank buying a used model. You can snag a model for less than $12,000, but you can buy a really cheap rundown car and turn it into your dream. The latest E30 series has a naturally aspirated inline 6-cylinder engine with 12 valves and can produce 168 horsepower and 166 pound-foot of torque at 4,000 RPM, reaching a maximum speed of 135 miles per hour. Specifically, the 325i is very tunable, and there are an array of options to upgrade not only the engine, but the interior and exterior as well. If you're looking to add a turbo engine, you have to have the time, skills, and budget to add one in, and if that's not your jam, try an M50 or M52 engine instead. If it's a shabby car, make sure to check and replace the shocks and brakes, and before you finish, take it to the body shop to get a sleek look before presenting it to the world. So, if you're a fan of the brilliant German and Swedish-made vehicles and have a passion for getting your hands oily, There's no need to break the bank for a new model BMW or Volvo. Tuning someone's old piece of junk can turn out to be your treasure. And you don't have to spend a lot to create your treasure. What a fantastic feeling.